Okay, so I'm just going to do all the openings in one go, and I'll start with the exterior doors and windows. So on the lower ground floor plan, I'm going to place the sliders first, and so just clicking on the door tool, and then load family. I'm just going to go to the doors folder, and you should see there a sliding door 2 panel with Oz in brackets, so you know it's the Australian one. Click open, and that'll bring it into your file. So the Australian ones do work well, but you've got to watch out with the wall thicknesses. They don't work with all wall thicknesses because they include door jambs and window jambs, the Australian library objects. So just watch out for that. If they don't work with a particular wall, you can always try the ones from the International Metric Library. So I've just clicked on Edit Type so that I get my type properties, and I'm going to duplicate this and make a new size, which is going to be 2460 by, well, we don't really know the height at the moment. I'd say it's about 2400. But we don't have any drawings that actually show that. I've got a photo here which does. So we can get an idea from that. And I haven't put it onto my computer, it's on the memory stick. Here we are. So just give us an idea. So that looks pretty close to full height. So let's just say it's 2400 for now. That should be pretty close, and I can always adjust that. Okay, so when you've got a set of dimensions like this, where you can adjust the height and the width, but not the rough width and the rough height, you just need to adjust those until you get the, in other words, adjust the width and the height until you get the rough width and the rough height that you're after. Because the rough width and the rough height is the opening size, the width and the height is the size of the door frame inside that opening. And the door frame is, strictly speaking, is slightly smaller than the opening, and the builder's padded it out. So the person who made this is, you know, technically correct, but you know, personally I don't make my families this way because it's more work, and it doesn't really add much to the drawings. But anyhow, if you get a family like this, you just need to work with them the way they've been made. So I want it to be 2400 wide at the opening. So here it's 2230. So you'll see if I make it say 2300, then the rough width is 2380. So the opening size is 80mm more than the width. So if I make that 2320, now my rough width is 2400. So you just need to adjust those until you get the size that you want. So again, with the height here, you can see is actually only 40mm less than the rough height. So if I make that 2360, now my rough height is 2400. You should always be thinking about the opening size. Don't worry so much about the frame size, because when you dimension your walls, you dimension the openings, not the actual windows. They're made off-site by manufacturers. You don't design the windows. They just chosen from a catalogue. So you need to basically decide the opening size, and then the windows will fit into that. So, or the doors in this case. So I've got my width and height. So I'm just going to click OK, and you'll see now I can place that that sliding door. And so we've got the upper panel on the inside. Now you can see it's not actually flipping for me anyway. It's strange. There we go. So sometimes spacebar is easier than moving the cursor. So I'm going to click now to place that. and you can see it's sitting into the wall slightly. Now I'm going to use a line on the Modify tab and pick the inside edge of that wall, and then the bottom of the door opening, and you can see it gives you an edge for that opening that you can use for alignment purposes, so that way I know that my door sits exactly on the edge of the wall there. So I can go and place that same opening. Now, sorry, did I wasn't thinking there. Sorry, the width there should have been 2460, not 2400. So I need to add another 60 mil to that width. But that's fine. I can just do that now. So it'll be 2380. And now my rough width is 2460. Don't need to rename it because I gave it the right name before. Again, my door now sits into the wall. I don't want that, so I'm going to use a line again, pick the inside edge of my wall, and now the inside of my door, and it's going to sit up into the wall and be flush with that edge. So now I can just use the door tool again to place another door, and again, if it doesn't go the right way, space, we'll flip it. And again, having placed it, then I can move it more accurately using a line, picking the inside edge of the wall, and then the opening. Just as a tip there, you should never build that way. You should always have a return, rather than making your openings flush with the wall. And I doubt they would have actually built it this way. Let's just have a quick look at the image. It's hard to tell actually because they've got a post here on the corner. I'd say they would have had a return there. Anyhow, I can't see. Okay, so there's another sliding door in this wall, and so again I can use door and load family doors, and I've got sliding door 4-panel. And again, edit type, and so this one, again, I'll duplicate, and then the width there's 3500, and again, keep the height the same, 2400, and then I can do the same thing to put in the width and height. So the width there, sorry, the rough width I want to be 3500, so the width will be 3420, just minus 80, and then the height will be 2360. So again, the rough height now is 2400. So here again, I'm just going to place the door roughly in that wall, and then come back and adjust the position afterwards. So looking at the drawing here, it's actually being dimensioned to the outside edge of the wall, so I can just select that door, and then using the witness line on this dimension, drag it over to the reference plane, and then type in the dimension I want, which is 290. And well, that can't be right, so what's going on with these drawings here? Okay, so I think there's a mistake on the drawing. That's fine, I'll just align it, because I know this edge should line up with the wall, so I'll just use a line again to bring that across. So a line, that looks right, so that's okay. All the other doors on that level are internal, so for those, again, it's going to use the door tool, and see what I've got in this family. You've got M single flush, which is okay. If you've used that, that's fine. But I'm going to click Load Family, and again go to Doors, and there's an Australian one, which is single timber frame, which has a bit more detail in it. So that's an 820 door, and you can see it should fit fairly well into that opening there. But there's a bit of a return either end, and on the drawings that isn't shown, so I should just check that. So here it's 955. Okay, how did that happen? Let's just see what one of the others is. If they're all the same, I'll change my door. So this one here, 980. Okay. So they're all different. That one will be 982. This one is... Oh, they're all 980. Okay, so how did this one end up being? Oh, so that wall thickness is different, of course. Okay, so oh, look, you could change all the doors and make them different sizes, but an 820 door, an 820 opening is actually standard. So I'm going to use that instead. So just placing these roughly is just fine. Like I said, if you want to, you can go and change all your door sizes so they fit exactly within these openings, but honestly, I wouldn't worry. So going into the bathroom and the laundry, you've got a wall-mounted slider, and I don't think there is one in the Australian library. So I'm just going to go upper level. Now, I've got some extra libraries here that you won't have. So I'm just going to go to the RAC 2011 library, which you will have. Just going to rename that. Okay, so looking in the doors folder here, so just keep going through these. Sure, there is one here. Now, if you can't find it, have a look on the Revit resources folder on the P drive. I'm just going to go to thumbnails. It is in here somewhere. Not in this folder. Okay, so in this one. Okay, let's just have a look in the international metric. No. Where's it gone? Okay, so I've just had a look on the P drive. This file is there, the single timber frame slider. Now, sorry, that's just disappeared. I'll just get that to come back to the top. So where's it gone again? Single. There we go. Single timber frame slider is in the resource files folder. So the Revit resources folder on the P drive. You'll find that in the NMore Revit library there. Okay. Revit resources, not in interior design resources. Yeah, yeah. So I'm just going to place this again fairly roughly in the wall, and really for these openings, it's probably okay just to place them by eye. If you want to, you can fine tune the measurements, but I'm just going to place them so they look basically right. And sometimes if it doesn't want to go in the right way, you can just place them in the wall and then come back and adjust the side that it's on and change the position and things like that. So I've got all my doors done on the bottom level, and then on the ground floor, we've only really got the entry door and the sliders at the back, on the bathroom door. And on the upper level, again, the sliders, and that's an unusual one, so I might have a look at the windows first, and then the ensuite is a cavity slider there. So I might have to give you that. I'm not sure if you'll have a cavity slider. It's hard to tell from this, but that's what it looks like. So let's go back to the low ground floor. And so I'll put some windows in now. And because you don't have the elevations, it's hard to tell what the window heights are. But I'll just try and get them as close as possible. So load family, and again I'll try and use the same library you'll have. So you should have all these Australian windows, and I think the windows here going alongside the planter would basically be full height. So, yeah, yeah. So I'm just trying to find the simplest window possible that has a mullion in the middle. And I think this might be it. So window double shutter. See if that works. Now here, before I go too far, putting in sizes and things like that, I'm just going to place it in the wall and see if it'll work. It works. So now I can go on and see if I can get the sizes to work. Now, this is a bit of an unusual one because you've got the window joining to the door at the corner there. Now, you could try to make these families connected, which would work, but it's a lot of work doing all of that. I'm just going to have a look in the 3D view and show you. So, firstly, before I even worry about this corner, I'm going to set this window's height now. So it's we know it's 1590. It's dimensioned a bit unusually, but yeah, 1590. So, well, let's just say it's 1500 because we've got the post at the end there. So I'll just make it 1500 wide. So I can leave the width, but I'm going to change the height. So I still need to hit duplicate, and I'll make it 1500 by 2400 again. Just make that a bit easier to read. And I'll put a new height in, 2400. Now I can see now that it's going through the floor. That's because I didn't change the sill height, but I can set that now to 0, and that's going to sit on the ground. So I'm just going to make sure my door and window head line up, and you can see they do. So looking back in the plan view now, you can see we've got this bit of wall left at the corner. Now to take that away, like I said, it's easiest to use a trick rather than to do it properly, I suppose, which would be a lot more work setting up new families, essentially, that wrap around that corner. So, to get this to look the way we want it to, first I'm going to put a post in. So for that I'm going to use column, and I'll just use an architectural column here. And you can see there that it's brought up a rectangular column right away. So you should have that loaded to begin with. And then I'm going to click Edit Type, and yep, duplicate. And I'm just going to make it 100 by 100. And then change the depth here and the width. So I've just got a 100mm square post. And while I'm at it, I might change the material to timber. I'll worry about the render appearance later. Okay, so I'm just going to place this roughly, for now, in line with this window, and I'll try and get it lined up as best I can with the door. And you can see, because I placed it inside my wall, it's telling me that that one element's completely inside the other. So there, I'm going to click Unjoin Elements so that my post doesn't join with my wall. Now you'll see why I put the post in, because I can select my wall, and finding the grip at the end there, I'm going to right click and then disallow join. And that'll prevent it from automatically joining with the other wall. I'm going to do the same with this wall coming down from the side with the entrance to your backyard. Again, finding the grip at the end there, when you right click on that, disallow join, and again it won't join to any walls now. So I can drag that end away, And I'll do the same here. So what that allows me to do is freely adjust the end of my wall without it connecting automatically to other walls. And that's really important, where you don't just want an automatic join between your walls. And in this case, it will, but I'm going to bring the windows across to cover that. Okay, so you can see then if I bring this across a bit further, it'll line up with the post, but it's hard to see now what's going on. So I'm going to turn on thin lines, and now I can see much more clearly the edges. And so I can drag this across now. Oops, let's try that again. Just make sure. Yep, so sometimes you can accidentally click on the little button to the right of this, which is allow join. So I've got to again right click and disallow join. You can see then there's that little T, so that's the thing to watch out for. That turns the joins back on. Okay, so dragging this across now, you can see it's pretty hard to get that lined up exactly with the column. So if that happens, I mean you can do it, but otherwise you can use a line and do it that way. So again here, I'll use a line. So I'm going to choose the edge of my column and then my wall. See, that's looking okay, but now my post has been blended with the walls. So I'm going to unjoin geometry there and choose my post to stop it joining from the walls so it looks different. So now this is the thing that's going to make it look right. I'm going to move this window now right over to the edge of the column as well, or the edge of the post. So you can see that's taken the wall out all the way along. And the same with the door. I'm going to move that down. Now, it's still a little bit messy because the door jamb is showing the full width of the wall. Sometimes it's worth checking what will happen when you go to fine. And you can see there, it's still doing the same thing. Okay, so the person who made this actually hasn't done the wrong thing. It's not, it's actually correct in some ways to show the doors like this. But when you've got a situation like this, it's going to look a bit messy. So to fix that finally, I need to go and edit the family. So I've just clicked edit family while the door was selected, and then I can have a look at my door jambs. So looking at the floor plan there, in the plan view, which is under floor plans, and the only floor plan I have there is ref level. Okay, so you can see here why the jamb is that width. It's been set to the size of the wall, no matter what that is. Now, I just need to measure here, and you can see that's 40 mil. The door thickness, which means I'm going to be able to change this jamb depth to 100 mil, and it'll still work with this door. So I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to draw a reference plane. Right, so I'm just drawing this reference plane either side of the center line. Now I'm going to draw in an aligned dimension between the two reference planes that I've just drawn and the center line. And I'll set each of those measurements to 50. Okay, so between those two reference planes now is 100, and then I can select my door jamb and edit it so it's a sweep. I just need to click edit sweep while the door jamb is selected, and then to change the profile, so changing the profile is going to change the size of the door jamb. The profile is just a rectangle, so select profile and then edit profile. and now I can see the edges that make up my door jamb, and they need to be selected so that you can unlock them, bring it down onto the edge of the reference plane that's just been made, and then relock it. The same down the bottom. So unlock, bring it up, lock it again, finish, finish, and so I've got a new door jamb size there. It seems complicated, but it's just practice. Once you've done this a few times, it's fairly straightforward. So now I've got a new jamb thickness. So I can do a save as, and yep. So I'll just save that as the same name with 100 jamb. Load it back into the project, and I don't need to place this new door. I just need to select the one that I made previously, and in the list now you can see it's added the new family, but most importantly it's kept the size I had before. So I can choose that. There we go, and you can see now that my jamb matches the column. So rather than adjusting the door again to change the position of the jamb, now what I can do is move the column and the window together so they line up with the door. Now I've been left with a bit of wall there, so I'll just turn thin lines on again and see. Yep, so rather than again going too far and messing around with the window or the column, the easiest thing to do there is just drag the edge of the wall back. Because disallow join is turned on, it stops the wall from trying to join to other things. So there we are, nice neat corner detail shown in plan, and they are quite fiddly. Doing it the other way with a special family you make for the corner is even more work. So I'll just change the other door here to match. So you'll need to do the same thing on the upper level, on the first floor. But anyhow, I'll just quickly do a few more windows. And so with windows, the trick is to keep them as simple as possible. I know it's tempting to use the nice detailed windows that you've got, and again I'll go back to the old library and have a look at those. It's tempting to use these complex windows, but they're more work and generally more difficult to set up. So often it's best to use the simplest ones you can find. So window fixed here is a nice simple window that we can use for the bathroom windows there. Now, I think it's just 300, the opening. Yep. So again, edit type, duplicate, and 300 by, well again we don't know the height, so let's just say 1200 is okay. Maybe higher than that actually, maybe let's see, 12 plus 1500. So the height there, 1500, the width 300, and then before I place this one I'm going to change the sill height to 900. Again, just going to place it roughly. Now, when you're placing your windows, it's best if the cursor is on the outside edge of the wall, not the inside. But if you're not sure which way you had it. You can always select the window afterwards, and you can see the arrows, and that flip arrow should be on the outside. So now I can just again use a line using the reference plane there, bring this up. So I can place the same window on the other side. And again with a line. Now, yep, sure. Yep, sure.
See how my thicknesses, see how there's two dark walls
Yeah.
down below?
Yeah.
Just like to add my roofs on, and when you check your section,
Yeah.
your walls seem to be, like the ones above those are the same thickness. Mine, like, can I show you?
Oh, yep, sure. I just have to pause this. Oh, yeah, sure, sure. I'll just, okay, so, yeah. So I'm just going to finish this video here, and you can see there's still an issue with this column. Now, I'm going to attach that to the floor, and then the walls here obviously don't look right. Now, I think what was actually done when this was built is that the windows and doors there were taken up full height to the underside of the floor. We may change the floor thickness anyway, so I'll leave it like that for now, and I'll have a think about it. In the next video I'll go through a way you can